The Bowery King enters the scene, presents John Wick with a new suit, and asks him if he is ready.
Yeah.
John Wick's training begins in Chapter 4. John is pursuing 3 horsemen in the desert when the camera pans to them. As he sprays their heads, they flee for their lives. The elder stands back and watches as he pursues his goal. John then takes down the second horse rider, and finally the last one as well. He stops and gets off his pony while reloading. As he strolls towards the elder asks to what he owes this delight, and John needs his ring and his opportunity back. He informs John that the only peace he will ever have is death, and that this is the only way John Wick will ever be free. He claims that he no longer possesses the ring. John puts 2 bullets between his eyes to create a third eye, because he doesn't give 2 shits. Karen contacts Winston to inform him of the situation, and allows the Harbinger to ascend to the upper floors. After he returns to the hotel, he hands Karen an envelope and insists on speaking with the manager. Harbinger then, at that point, uncovers that the hotel has been denounced and gives an hourglass, allowing him 1 hour to evacuate. In addition, he asserts that a decree granting the Marquis the authority to serve as judge, jury, and executioner has been signed by the 12 members of the High Table. After that, Winston and Karen move on to meet with Marquis. When they enter the room, they see an hourglass as Winston explains that he shot John Wick, and Marquis laughs and says that John Wick is still alive and pollutes everything he touches. He continues by stating that the Continental is being kicked out of the filthy city of New York. Karen emphasizes the significance of everyone adhering to the rules, and the Continental Hotel bursts into flames as the last sand grains fall. Marquis aims a gun at Winston after he is declared excommunicado, but he shoots Karen instead, killing him. In a small crowd, Kane, a blind man in Paris, overhears a young girl playing music. Soon after, he is brought to a gathering with Marquis, who burns through no time in cutting to the chase. By getting too close to his daughter that day, Kane almost broke the terms of his deal. Marquis threatens Kane's daughter's life despite his retirement. If he does not comply with their demands, they will kill his daughter. Kane is given a card with the word Wick on it, which leaves him speechless. He uncovers that he was a companion of John's, however will offer his assistance to the High Table. We advance toward Japan at the Continental Hotel. A tracker knows as Mr. Nobody advances toward the front counter. We meet Akira, who allows the dog to enter as an emotional support animal. She then walks with Shimazu, her manager and father. She informs him that, since he has relationships with John Wick, and this could lead to an unforeseeable future with the High Table, everyone is on edge. She is advised to relax by Shimazu, that they have not committed any wrongdoing. He walks away from her and heads upstairs, where John Wick greets him. He lets him know that killing the senior was a mistake. He illuminates him regarding Karen's passing, and John isn't satisfied. John refers to Shimazu as a dear friend, as he tells him that the High Table will not stop. First floor, the tracker takes a gander at John Wick in his book, and rapidly understands the attendant from the High Table are in the hotel. They go to Akira and ask for the manager. Akira tells them to get really comfy, as she rushes upstairs to her father and sees John Wick there. Shimazu advises John to remain with him as he deals with the men downstairs. As he is coming, he advises his men to get locked and stacked. They all go to get arms and are prepared for war if it comes to that. He goes first floor and welcomes them. They accept the hotel is giving assistance to John Wick. They request full hotel access, and he settles on the condition that they hand their firearms over, as no business can be led on continental ground. Kane then, at that point, advances onto the scene and welcomes Shimazu. They talk about their friendship, but the concierge cuts them off, telling them to leave the hotel because it has been deconsecrated. The lights go off and return on gently as archers encompass them. They discharge and obliterate a couple of men as swords are taken out, and they get into a wild battle. However, the hotel wins and point their weapons at the sole survivor. At the same time, a hit crew wearing total badass impenetrable protection enter the structure. They are instructed to track down John Wick. As the men retreat on the housetop, Akira and John are gone after. Akira makes marksman shot, killing a few men. John knows the point of weakness of the defensive layer in the neck, and skillfully takes out numerous men without a moment's delay. The hotel's occupants are all killed by the remaining troops. Kane engages in the activity, and for a visually impaired man, he gives a thumping to his attackers. John and Akira try to get out of the building and start killing everyone they can. Akira is a damn good fighter because she slaughters and kills every man who comes her way. Akira is shot after John kills a few. Her father intervenes and eliminates the shooters. He gets his daughter and advises John to go the manner in which he came in. On his way, he is met by 4 noob assassins. As he engages in combat with the remaining individuals, he easily eliminates 2 of them. In the wake of utilizing every one of the projectiles on their covering, he splashes their head and gets a rifle. After being stopped by a big-ass man, John decides that nunchucks are his thing. He takes on 2 of them, yet winds up hauling his guns out, killing them. He encounters additional foes, but the rifle easily eliminates them. He gets bored and goes back to his nunchucks. As he swings and kills the man, he performs some skillful moves. As Kane enters, he gets a 2-second breather. He and Kane get into a fight by pulling the trigger at each other. Kane wins, and the tracker starts firing. He takes shots at Kane, and this lets John escape. The bounty on John has now been increased to $20 million US, which is a big-ass bounty money. As he exits the room, he takes his medallion after he kills another man. 2 of the attackers are killed when a dog appears out of nowhere. John is perplexed when the tracker surfaces. The tracker then, at that point, kills an aggressor from behind and tells John they are cooperating now. Kane discovers Akira and her father as they attempt to flee. He tells them to tell John where he is and leave, but Shimazu takes out his sword to protect John. They get into a fight. Shimazu is stabbed by Kane and he easily wins the fight. Kane has mercy on Akira and allows her to flee as she runs to her dying father. John enters the train station and boarded the train to find Akira there as well. She faults John for this shit and lets him know he should kill Kane, or she will. Winston tells the Bowery King in New York that he needs to talk to John while he is there. He informs him that John needs to talk to him because the last time didn't go well. We cut to a scene where the tracker is having a meeting with Marquis. He illuminates him that he will find and kill John for $25 million. After Marquis stabs him in the hand during their negotiation, they settle on $23 million. John and Winston meet at Karen's memorial later on. John is advised to fight Marquis one-on-one by Winston because he will run out of bullets. The individuals at the high table can do as such, and in the event that the test is introduced, they should acknowledge it. John is instructed by Winston to go make amends with his family, who already hold a seat at the high table. John makes his way to Berlin and goes inside a church. As he strolls towards the special stepped area, the minister takes out a shotgun and blows John far away. He remarks, "Nice suit." Marquis is chatting with the tracker over the phone as the scene changes. Marquis responds, "Either John dies, or you," when he informs him that John is in Berlin. John's family tortures him inside the church as they tell him that he destroyed everything, and that they intend to kill him until he mentions the one-on-one duel. They inform John that if they kill the man who killed their father, they will mend his ticket and allow him to rejoin the family. They send Claus to assist him after he declares that he requires entry. They advance toward the Kingpin, who laughs as Kane strolls in. John has been set up by his family, who surrendered him to save themselves. The Kingpin and Kane aim their weapons at one another. He also takes a seat when the tracker shows up as another guest. The 3 men decide to play a card game to decide who will kill John. When the dealer draws a 5, John slices him, and everyone starts attacking each other like crazy. After shots are fired, John enters the club and begins to dismember everyone who comes his way. He tracks down the Kingpin and pursues him until he throws him off the stairs, killing him. He takes his tooth out as proof for killing him. He advances back to the church, where his family acknowledges him back and do an inception for his return. Marquis is taken aback when Winston enters the room. He gives him the duel notice, which states that John's victory will grant him freedom, Winston's title, and a rebuilt hotel at the expense of the high table. He hears from Marquis that Winston is the second, and as a result, he must either win or die. John is brought straight to a table and seated next to Marquis. They choose the duel's location, time, and weapon by flipping cards. The duel will be at the crack of dawn with guns. However, Marquis substitutes himself for Kane. As John leaves, Kane says he will not be his second and won't battle. Marquis says on the off chance that he wins, he and his little daughter are liberated, and the contrary turns out too. John advances back to the church and meets Kane there. They have a well-disposed talk about their friends and family, and John talks about Helen. Kane lets John know that he is a dear companion. However, assuming it is among him and his little daughter, it must be him. John thanks him and departs. He descends to an abandoned station and meets the Bower King there. He gives him a suit and tells him whether he is getting married or buried, he needs to look his best. Marquis goes to his main man and tells him that Wick will never make it to the duel. His man realizes and goes looking for him. On the radio, everyone in the city is warned to kill John Wick because he is a huge obstacle. The contract for Wick has now changed to seek and destroy, and has been increased to a staggering $26 million US. As they prepare to kill Mr. Wick, numerous hordes of assassins lock and load. John tells the Bowery King in the station that he needs a gun. He provides a pistol with approximately 50 additional technical advantages, including a 21 mag capacity. John is impressed and says he needs to get as close to the church as he can. They take him on a boat ride and express that is the extent to which they can go. As soon as John leaves, the radio station is informed of his whereabouts. John simultaneously observes numerous men arriving from all directions as they make the announcement on the radio. The battle starts, and as he takes out the initial two, he is hit by a vehicle. He kills the driver and is hit by another vehicle. He deals with them and enjoys the idea of ramming people. He hides in the car and kills a few more people before fleeing. His area is updated on the radio and a bunch of vehicles advance towards him. He sprays the driver, puts the car in reverse, and decides to do a donut with it. His car is then rammed and flipped over as he tends to the men in the middle. John prepares for war and masterfully takes out 4 men. The 5th draws in him in close battle, yet was immediately quelled also. The right hand of Marquis runs after John. As they shoot in between cars coming their way, they go into a bloody fist fight and he throws John onto an oncoming car. They continue fighting until he himself is thrown onto a car. John picks up his gun and goes running. It becomes chaotic, as bullets are fired at will and people getting hit by cars. John tries to get off the road until he is shot. As the tracker arrives, he is strapped and makes his way back into the traffic. John is running around like a madman, killing anything that moves. As John escapes and hops on a bike, the tracker fires at him, and they corner him as he performs a slick move. He enters a building where he can gain an advantage over the others. He starts by getting rid of his attackers one at a time, until he has basically ruined everyone. He kills, but in the end he kills. The tracker then receives a call from Marquis, who offers $35 million for John Wick's handsome head and hangs up. In order to win the prize for himself, he begins to kill his rivals. Marquis gets back to him and the tracker needs $40 million increment now. Marquis concurs, and the increased prize money is made public to everyone. John stays in the structure and kills off 2 professional killers as he involves a specially crafted rifle in the following 10 seconds. He takes out like 10 buffoons. The tracker is additionally taking shots voluntarily until they begin battling one another. They get into a fist fight and John gets him at gunpoint. John saved the dog, while the right-hand man of the Marquis was aiming his gun at the tracker's dog. The tracker immediately realizes that John is one slick son of a gun. John looks at his watch as he sprints out of the building. It's close to sunrise, but his location is again made public. He gets a good look at the attackers and has to kill a few people on each flight of stairs. He climbs and kills more people until he reaches the top. He is then tossed down the main stairwell until he is pounded and kicked to the lower part of the multitude of steps. There are 3 minutes to go, and as he gives up, Kane arrives and tells him to start climbing. They begin battling their way to the top after he assists him. Many assassins on their way to the top are easily manhandled by Kane and John, making them one potent duo. Yet again, Marquis right-hand man is battling with John, yet this time he has had enough and gets John onto the ground. He strolls towards him with his gun, and as John is going to get his ass claimed, the tracker is there and sees his dog and chooses to save John's butt and shoots the pro killer. He descends and subdues the man by severing his hand with a pencil. The man who injured his puppy is attacked by the tracker as Kane and John leave. After that, he shoots him, and in retaliation, his dog pees on his head. The tracker settles down to watch sunrise as John just makes it in time. The 2 men remove their vests as they are given a gun each and are requested to take their positions. Kane bids him goodbye and says, "See you in the next life." A bullet is given to them after they move 30 paces apart. Marquis is told to shut the fuck up by Kane. John and Winston are enjoying the sunrise. John requests Winston's final words, and he advises him to have a great time out there. The Harbinger inquires as to whether the 2 men are prepared. When they agree, he says fire. Kane gets hit on the shoulder, and John deals no damage. They come closer to each other and reload their pistols, saying fire again. This time, John gets hit on the shoulder, and Kane gets hit in the stomach area. They are commanded to step closer. They reload once again, and some despairing music is being played, knowing that one should bite the dust. In anticipation of the call, everyone simply stops and stares at each other. Winston looks at John in disbelief as he lies on the ground, bleeding. The tracker also gets emotional. Marquis snatches the last bullet and strolls to Kane to take his firearm. Kane inquires whether his daughter is free, And he responds yes. He stacks the bullet in the weapon and approaches John and points it at him. John is called arrogant by Winston, who intervenes and asserts that John did not shoot. He gives him a look, but John fires first, giving him a marvelous headshot eye. The Harbinger checks on Marquis while the tracker laughs happily. He informs John that he has fulfilled his obligation and can carry out whatever he pleases. He lets Kane know that he and his daughter are likewise free. He informs Winston that the hotel will be rebuilt and that he will be reinstated. They conclude their business and leave. Kane goes to John and calls him brother, and John says that Kane owes him one, hinting that he purposefully didn't kill Kane. John asks Winston to take him home while they are speaking. Winston sees his injury and says obviously. Winston's eyes become watery like a crybaby as John sits alone on the steps. He thinks of Helen and whispers. He slowly collapses on the ground. I'm not gonna lie, this almost had me in feels. Back at home, we are at graveyard, with John and Helen's graves right next to one another. The Bowery King, Winston and John's dog stand there. Winston is shattered and puts his hand on the tombstone and says goodbye as they walk off, and sadly the movie comes to an end. What's next? In the post-credit scene, Kane has a bouquet of flowers and is finally walking towards his daughter with a smile on his face. We move to find Akira walking towards him and pulls a knife out as the movie comes to an end. I mean, that's some sad ending. Thank you all for watching this recap. Also, do you think we'll see a John Wick 5? If you liked the video, do give it a subscribe and a thumbs up. Like seriously.